There's a reason why LP has stayed relevant for multiple decades. Once you understand his production, you'll agree he's one of the most inspirational beatmakers in hip-hop. He's a relentless artist who believes production should be all about experimentation, which is exactly what you hear when you listen to his beats and the evolution they've gone through. But how did he do this? What does LP do with his beats that make them so unique? Today we're going to uncover this by analyzing his beats and breaking down 3 core ideas that he uses in his production that you can use to improve your own production too. Let me start off by saying I already know what you're thinking, so I'll make you a deal. If we can get this video to 4,000 likes, the next time you see me wearing this shirt, this zipper is going to be all the way at the bottom.
Hey.
So hit that button and we'll start off with tip number 1. Part of what makes LP's style so distinct is that it's a noise-based approach to production, which is a style that you rarely hear nowadays.
I always explain that about my production, because throughout my whole career, it's always been like, why is it so f***ing noisy? You know what I mean? Why is it so noisy?
Now you might be wondering, what does this mean? What is noise-based production? LP often cites the Bomb Squad as a big inspiration for his beats, who are pioneers for this noise-based approach to hip-hop production. Now, instead of me describing what this means, check out this other interview that LP did with Open Mike Eagle, where he explains this idea himself.
Started the same way that it starts with everyone, which is just literally trying to move something. And then it developed and started into little bits of pieces and things. And then my music started to become a huge collage of a bunch of little pieces and samples and twisted pulls.
So you might be wondering, what does this actually look like when you're making a beat? Well, instead of using a sample and just looping it as the core of the beat, or even if you make beats from scratch instead of grabbing an instrument or plugin and creating a full pattern, noise-based production has a different approach. For example, I'm going to start my beat by using this short little sound here. Just a side note, if you listen to LP's beats, you can hear that he really likes these classic 80s hip-hop stabs. But again, instead of creating a complex pattern with this sound, I'm just going to use it occasionally. Next up, let's grab yet another sample. And again, is this sound really an instrument? Not really, it's more of a noise, which is actually what we want for this noise-based production approach. Let's grab some more noise here. This is pretty much pure distortion that I'm using for this pattern. And I can still use some actual instrument samples as well, but I still want to maintain the same approach of using them like pieces of noise rather than creating full patterns. So here I have these guitar licks. And I'm just going to use them the same way that I've been using all the other sounds and samples so far. I'm just going to do this over and over until I get a full loop that is made up of many, many small sounds and noises. And now, once I add in the normal sounds that you're used to hearing in beats like bass and a typical hip-hop drum loop, the beat will start to come together now. And that is the general approach to noise-based production. Another thing that LP does that I really appreciate is the unique synths that he uses in his beats. For example, in the beat for All My Life.
One time for the bill and the reaper man. It's the young black leader to the people, man.
It's just such a cool sound. And when you watch the footage of him making beats, he'll even explain how important layering is when coming up with these unique textures and synths.
Just layering it underneath a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a different feel.
Now, layering is something that you might already do when you make beats, but I want to show you some simple and easy ideas that you may never have thought of. So here I have this beat that I made where layering was super key. So let's break down this main synth and how layering helped me. I started off with this preset here, which isn't all that unique. It's just a typical square wave with some distortion on it. Now you probably know the typical approach to layering where you find some other sound and stack it on top of what you've already built. But actually just using the exact same sound and just changing a few key things can get you some really great results fast and easy. So here I'll just start by cloning this exact same synth and the pattern. Now one easy way to use your layer to help your synth stand out is by detuning. So go into your layer and change the fine knob for the pitch, and you can hear the difference. Now one helpful tool that you can use is formant shifting. So here I've added this free plugin called M-Auto Pitch. I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. And this can help you control the color of your sound with just one turn of a knob. You can hear it gets brighter or darker based on what I choose, and this will provide a different tone rather than just using an EQ. So for example, if I grabbed an EQ and bumped up some of the brighter frequencies, this sounds different compared to if I used formant shifting instead. Another quick and easy idea is to just simply shift the pattern into a different octave. Playing with the filter settings of your layer can also make a huge difference. And finally, what probably has the biggest impact is changing the fundamental shape of the sound itself. So just go into your oscillator and change the shape settings. By the way, if all this looks confusing to you and you have a hard time understanding what's going on when you look at a plugin, check out the video that's showing up in the corner. And then I explain how to use any and every plugin and know exactly where everything is so you can quickly and easily design your own sounds. But I want to say, if beatmaking in general is something that you struggle with, I want to let you know about Better Beatmaker. You might feel like you have great ideas for beats, but when you try to actually make them, there's always something that's missing or you feel like you're doing something wrong. Well, that's where Better Beatmaker is going to be perfect for you. YouTube is definitely a great place to start, but by joining Better Beatmaker, you'll get more out of 5 minutes of the program compared to most YouTube videos, just like Jason says here. Plus, you can work with me directly to fix your beats. The link is in the description box below. Apply today if you're ready to solve your beat making problems. Moving on, let's talk about the final idea that LP really excels at, which is the ability to create multiple ideas within one beat. A great example of this is All Due Respect. Now, when you break this beat down, there are switch ups that keep happening throughout. We have this part of the beat, for example. And this part of the beat. And these two sections have different sounds and textures within them, but you can also hear there are a lot of consistencies between sections as well. We have that same screeching, distorted guitar playing that same note in the background. And we have that same 808 in the low end. And this is what makes that first tip that we covered so powerful. The way LP produces by creating a collage of sounds and textures allows for just so much more arrangement flexibility. So let's go back to the first beat idea that I made and use this same approach with this beat. And let's say that I wanted to create a second part to this verse section. What makes doing this so much harder for many producers is that they'll use 2 or 3 core sounds to build the entirety of their loop. And this is what ends up causing them to struggle, because any changes that they make sound drastic since they're changing 50% of their beat just by changing one sound. But here I can delete and remove a bunch of layers and it won't change the beat that much. There's still a lot of continuity. So here I still have enough space where I can add some new layers in, but I still have enough remaining sounds where it'll still sound consistent with the first beat idea that I've made. So here is some new idea that I'll bring into the beat. I'll also build this simple open hi-hat pattern. And now when I bring these two ideas together, you can hear how easily the beat goes from one idea to another without needing any transition sounds or any drastic arrangement techniques, all because of this production approach. Makes it so much more easy. So by building your beat by using smaller pieces, this becomes easier to do. This collage style of approach is something that I talked about in an older video of mine about The Alchemist, which should be showing up next to me. Check that out if you're a fan of The Alchemist, but those are 3 beat ideas that you can use in your beats, thanks to LP. Hope you liked this video, hit like and subscribe if so, and other than that, I'll see you guys next time. But yeah, really, check this video out.